Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. It's Mike with FlowTrack. And good afternoon, Lyle. You're the first one to comment right now. So, good afternoon to you. Happy Sunday. So, I was just going through and about to build a website for a new blueprint we're going to make. And I thought, why not just go ahead and stream it as we're doing it so you guys can see how easy it is to use the website builder. And so, let's go ahead and dive in. And the first thing I want to show you guys is, we did release this agency blueprint that does allow you to have just like the agency in a box, one click, you get 16 included assets. That's exactly what we're going to be creating as a new blueprint like this. So you get everything you need for a certain type of business model. And so this was the agency blueprint we made. The PDF goes over like the landing page, the lead capture, the upsell page, sign up page, all that good stuff. And today we're going to be building the website, and we're going to build a new website, and we're going to take some inspiration from Podium's design right here. So I think this is a pretty clean looking website. It's kind of like that flat design, pretty clean, good layout. They got some swiper sliders in here, so you can change slides. So we'll go ahead and put one of those in and get one that it's kind of like this. So let's go ahead and get started. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in to the website builder, and if you guys have any questions along the way, please just go ahead and drop them in the chat so you guys can get all of your questions answered, and I'll try to stop what I'm doing as I'm doing it so you guys can see how it's going. So let's just call this demo. And we're going to go ahead and start creating a new project from scratch. So let's see. All right, so we got a blank designer, and first I'm going to add a new empty page. And so here we got our empty page. And so I'm just going to delete that default text that's in here. And let's see, we got Don asking, what is that template? Where is the template located or the PDF? So once you guys sign up, and let me show you, I'll drop in the link really quick. So once you guys sign up, we got pulling up the link. We got this page right here. It says, give me the template. So I'm going to drop the link right here in the chat so you guys have this. But you guys can go ahead and fill this form out. And as soon as you fill this out, it actually sends you an email. So you guys can get the email with the PDF, and it does go through everything that's included. And it also has a demo video right here, so you guys can click on that and watch the demo video. And then you also have a link in here to the Figma design assets. So if you guys want to actually customize the Figma assets, you can do that in there, which is super cool. And if you guys have any more questions about that, definitely let us know. I'll go ahead and dive into this new page. So I got this new page, and now I have this cool little color picker that I always use. It's just called Color Picker. And so it lets me go on another website and just, pick the color that I want. And then it saves that code to my clipboard. So when I can come in here, I can just come in here and say, well, let's set the background color to this color. And that just so happens to be the color on here. So that was super easy. I got the color that I want. And Lyle's asking, I'm going to be releasing more templates for different industries. So absolutely, that's what one of the things that we have a team working on. So we hope to have some good news on that soon. So let's go ahead and start building this sort of page. And so let's see, one thing I would actually like to do is just pick one of the color palettes in here. So I'm going to pick that color palette. So I got this one ready to go. You can always pick whatever one you want. I feel like that's a good one for the purposes of this demo. And I'm going to actually add a shape divider, and let's just go ahead and do a tilt. So I got this cool little tilt thing going on. I think that's kind of like what they have over here. Yep, I got a tilt going on. So we'll keep it like that. And so the next thing I see that's obvious that jumps out at me is, I always see websites in blocks, right? I see everything in blocks. So I see a little grid cell on the left with text and another little grid cell on the right with an image. So I instantly think grid, because we don't deal with rows, columns, and cells and all that stuff. We just got grids. Keep it simple. So we got a 2x1 grid, right? And so now I got a spot for my text on the left and a spot for the image on the right. And so I'm going to actually just go ahead and drop in an image, and I'm going to drop in some heading text, and I'll drop in some smaller text. Let's go back over there. Okay, and then I got a button. So that's looking good. And my button did change to use my color palette, right? So it's picking one of those colors, so we can always go back in and customize that. But let's go ahead and just left align all of these. And there we go. I'm not gonna space it and align it yet. I'm gonna actually just go into picking my image. And so I'm gonna go to the royal free image search, and let's just search, man on phone, see what pops up. I'll just pick this first one. That looks fine. So we got that. Perfect. And I can go ahead and make them a little bit taller. And let's go ahead and set the focal point of the image. That looks cool. Now I'm going to come up with a awesome headline. So get customers delivered to your inbox. And so I'm just going to change it from justified to left align. So it's all left align. And I'm going to type something in here. You need this now. Oh, yes, you do. This is the best service you need. If I can spell, click to buy now or else. All right, perfect. So that's looking good. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick one of the colors in here. I always like buttons that pop, so I'm just going to pick the red color for now. We'll see how that looks. And I still haven't done anything with the spacing yet, but let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to change the Flexbox settings on this cell, and we can do something like, hey, let's space this stuff evenly. And so now it's a little bit too far apart, so I can just actually add a little spacer in there, and that spacer will kind of push everything up a little bit closer together. I like that. That looks good. So now I got 4 items in here evenly spaced. I got text, button, and spacer. And so that looks cool. So you're asking Lyle's asking, how do you round the border of the image? Well, that's a great question. So you can actually come in here, and we got this thing. It's actually border radius. I think we need to update that label, but this is the border radius. So you can just come in here and we'll round that. Let's go ahead and make it a nice even 30 pixels. So that looks cool. Now we got a rounded border. And the other thing I want to do is I want to add a cool little effect, and I can do that with the shadow. So check this out. Let's put in a shadow. I'm going to put the shadow as the same color as my button. So let's pick that. And instead of having like a blurry shadow, that's only 1 pixel, I'm going to do a 20 by 20, 0 blur shadow, right? So we'll just do something like that. That looks good. I got this cool little effect on there. Kind of makes it pop a little bit. And let's see. We got someone saying, I was trying to have section images of the site to zoom in as you scroll. If you can clarify that question a little bit more, happy to answer that for you. I'm not sure what you mean image zoom as you scroll. Or if you have an example, you can post in the link in the comments too. We can take a look at that and see how we can make that. Okay, so and another cool thing you can do in here, where you don't even have to open up a image editor, is you can actually overlay images on top of images. So let's do that really quick. I'm just going to drag another image right here in the box, and I'm going to pick one that I like. Let's just do like a phone icon. I can pick something like this, like a little phone icon. And let's actually make this smaller. So I'm going to make that a little bit smaller. That looks cool. And so with this image still selected, I'm going to go back into the style manager. I got this setting under general. That's a position. So you can see you got different position options. You can play with this. I want to do absolute, and I want to change the z-index. Z-index is like where it appears, you know, above or below other items. So this has the z-index higher than the image. It's going to appear on top of the image. That's why I'm doing that. So absolute's going to like stack these images, which is exactly what I want. So that's cool. And so next I want to, let's see, might want to make this a little bit smaller. And I don't like the green on top of the green, and I'm too lazy to open up my image editor, right? Might as well just do it in here. So we do have image settings and we have filters. And so on filters, we can come in and we can just apply a filter to this. So I'm going to give this like a reddish filter. That looks cool. And then we can go ahead and say, right align. And now we got this image overlaid on top. And I can play with more of the filters and maybe make it darker, lighter, etc. I actually like that. It looks like that guy's talking on a phone, but doesn't have a phone in his hand. So maybe he's talking to his tablet, which is cool. And so that's looking pretty good for the first section. I'm pretty happy. So now we can start going to the next section. Obviously drag in a nav bar. We can do nav bar and stuff like that, but start diving into the next section. So I'm just going to click on the new section button and click on new section. And before we dive in the new section, let's start going over some of the questions. We got people saying, oh yeah, Sunday fun day. Absolutely. You got NASCAR on right now, and you got website building. So I'm glad we're more fun than NASCAR. So good deal. Let's see, the automation tab. Someone's asking about an automation tab. When you click on the image, it has an automation option to flip in, zoom, etc. Okay, well, we can look at that once we publish the page and look at adding some animations on there. That's a good question. Remind me if I forget when we get to the preview mode. And let's see. All right, perfect. I'll keep designing the other section. I'll keep diving back into your questions. All right, so one of the other sections on the site, you know, maybe we want to do something like, you know, this one's pretty easy, right? So we can just do, it's another grid. Yeah, 2x1 grid. So we just got a title on the top and then a grid. And so I'll start doing that. I'll put in a heading. I'll left align it. And then we'll put in another grid. And we'll do a 2x1 grid. Perfect. And so this time we'll do an image on the left and some text on the right. So image on the left, and we'll do some text on the right. So that's looking good. And I don't want this text to be that big, so I'm going to change it to like a H3. And I might even just put some text below that. That looks good. And we can go ahead and put in a line element. That looks good. And then we'll put in some more text right here. So that's looking cool. And so let's put in a feature in here. So we can put in like all in one chat. Get leads where your customers are. And then we can have some big block of text right here. It's going to go into more detail about that. So I can just put in a bunch of text. That looks good. And we can keep it like that, or I can resize it. I'll make it left align. So that's looking good. Let's do the same thing with the Flexbox settings right now. So we can go ahead and space this a little bit, but I'm going to do the same trick I did earlier. I'm going to add a spacer in there to kind of push it up a little bit. And I'm going to change this color of the spacer to just be a tiny bit lighter so you can barely notice it in there. And let's go ahead and put in some text right here. All the features you need. And let's push this down a tiny bit. So I can do that by putting a margin below. I'll just keep it at 30. Since I kept my rounded corners on the images is 30. I usually just like to keep using the same number everywhere to keep it symmetrical. So we're going to go ahead and just push that down 30 pixels. And let's put in another image. So let's, if you guys want to type in some keyword ideas for images, let me know. Just type it in there. What should I search next? What should we search in this keyword box? What should we put here? I'll wait for you guys to comment. What type of image do you want? We're gonna roll the dice, let you guys decide what we put in here. So just to show you guys what we're putting in, we're putting it in next to an all-in-one chat. So we can have someone typing or chatting, right? So we can go ahead and do something like chat, just see what pops up. So we got scene of the beach. You want a scene on the beach? So let's do chat beach. Let's see if anything pops up for that. So you do have that, so why not? Let's go ahead and drop that in there. Just for demo purposes. So what the heck? So on here, I'm actually going to change the border radius of this also to 30. This was a new feature that the team added right here. So you can actually change the border radius without going to the style manager, which is pretty cool. And then we can go ahead and change the column gap a little bit to make it a little bit wider. I'll just keep using 30 everywhere. And there we go. So that is looking good. And yeah, I think that's looking pretty good. So we could do this and duplicate this a few times, right? So I can go ahead and duplicate this grid and keep building it out. And I can, just swap these columns around. So you can just drag one to the other and just swap them around. So you're alternating, the same way as this site. You go back and forth. So that looks good. But we'll just do one. And then we'll go on to the next section. And so the next section, I'm going to reuse that same color I had earlier. And we're just going to come in and set a background color in here. That looks good. And let's do the slider because people love the slider. I think that one's pretty cool. It's actually so flexible. You can do so many different things with the slider, whether you want to do a full page slide or multi-page slides, the box effect. There's lots of cool stuff in there. So let's use the slider. First, we're going to just put a heading on the page so people know, what they're reading about. So here, what our customers have to say. Perfect. And I'm going to left align that. And I'm also going to drag in the slider. So I got this swiper slider. Swiper slider just means that when you're on mobile, you can swipe left and right with your thumb or any finger for that matter, and it'll change and swipe slides. So we got our swiper slider, and we're going to completely change how this swiper slider looks. So it's just going to be one slide per page. But first, let me go ahead and push this text down, or the swiper slider down a little bit. So again, I'm going to use 30 pixels because I'm using that everywhere. And the first thing I'm going to do is actually go into the swiper slider settings, and let's just change the slides to view to 1. And let's just change the slides to 3. So that's good. And let's say I don't want these things in here. I don't want the image and the text and the button. What I really want is a grid. Right, because looking at this, it's the same thing. I got image on the left, text on the right. So I'm just going to drop in a grid in the slide. And so I'm going to go back up into here. I'm going to say put in a grid, 2x1 grid. Boom, we got a grid. So I can actually delete these other items now, the text and the button, right? And so we can do the same thing. We'll put a image on the left. So we'll go ahead and drop in an image. And then we'll put, let's go ahead and change the background of this one, right? So we're going to put in a white background. That's looking better. And we can go ahead and find someone that works at a pizza shop. Right? So we got some guy making pizza. That's cool. And let's go ahead and make this a little bit taller. We got Mr. Customer over here. We're going to talk about his success using this at the pizza shop. We'll just get him in focus so we get to see that lovely pizza. Looks like he has 3 types in there. So hope you guys aren't getting too hungry. And let's go back here. And they kind of got the same thing: big text, small text, line, other text, and then some other stuff down there. So I'm going to do the same thing, put in some big text, some smaller text, and some even smaller text. Put in a line, and then we'll put in some smaller text. And so we can do a rating element here. I think that would be cool. And then we can do a button. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start left aligning all this stuff. So I'll just keep clicking on this and left align all of it. Left align. And then the rating and the button I'm actually going to keep in the middle. And so let's go ahead and just set the Flexbox settings of this. And we're going to say space it evenly. And again, I'm going to use that spacer element to kind of push everything up a little bit more. So we can just kind of smush it up like that. And let's see, I'm going to click on the column and let's just add some padding in here. So I'm going to keep everything at 30, like I was saying. So we're going to have a 30 padding box. And then I want to go ahead and round the corners. But in this case, I don't want to round all 4 corners, right? Because I got the image on the left of it. I'm just going to do the top right corner at 30. Not top left, top right at 30. And then we're going to do the bottom right at 30. So that looks good. And now I got a scenario where I got this gap between the image. Oh no, what do I do? Well, if you click on the grid, you got this. So I'm just clicking on the gap between the grid and the column right here, and I get the grid settings. And we can go ahead and just change these gaps to 0, right? And so we're not going to have any gap between the cells in this grid. So now the image is touching on that one, which is perfect. So now I can just come into this image, and on the image settings, I can change the border radius top left to 30 and bottom left to 30. All right, so I got this nice rounded thing going on. It's starting to look pretty cool. And that's looking good. And let's see, what else do we want to do on here? I probably want to change some colors around. So I'm kind of going with like red is the thing to click on in this template. So I'm just going to keep that same theme going here. And red is going to be the stuff that's really clickable. I'm just going to pick that red color. There we go. I also want to change those bullet points or the pagination icons at the bottom. So we'll make that red, and that's starting to look good. I might even make this a little bit bigger. That looks cool. And so let's just start deleting the other stuff on these slides. And I'm lazy. I don't want to redevelop all this stuff, 3 times for 3 different slides. So on this blue bar on the bottom, I don't think you guys can see on the live stream, but you got a blue bar telling you what thing is currently selected. I'm just going to click on the swiper slide to select that. And then I'm going to click the clone button. And I'm going to click it twice. And so now I got these 2 other slides in here, but I still got my other ones that I don't want. So I can actually go back into the swiper slider settings and just change this back down to 3. It's going to get rid of the last 2 slides. And there we go. So now I got 3 slides that are exactly like this. And I'm going to go ahead and swap out this image. And so for this image, we want to search for a happy business. So we'll search for a yoga studio and go ahead and check this out. We can go ahead and pick one of these, see if that looks good. And let's set the focal point. So there we go. Got a yoga studio, and we can go ahead and update this yoga studio. Perfect. Now, I'm not going to put in all the text because I think you guys get the idea, but we'll just put in some images And on this last business, let's go ahead and pick a auto repair shop, right? And so we got someone doing auto repair. We can paginate in here, try to find the best image. I'm just going to put any old image. So perfect. And so this is where we'd really like highlight the success, of each business. And I probably want to change the color of these stars, right? So I can do maybe green or blue, something like that. I'll pick something from the theme. And we can go ahead and say, customer rating. And this button, want to make it red like the others, keeping that theme going. Now, I normally would have done all the styling changes I wanted before I clicked clone, but I already cloned the other slides. So now I got to make it 3 times. But, usually I want to make all the style changes once and then just click clone. And let me show you some of the other slide options you have on here, which are super cool. First of all, you got this speed option. So you can change the speed of the effect. And the default effect is just slide, but you can do things like cube. Cube is really cool because it'll like spin around as it's going, and it might be a little too fast to see. You can actually make the speed slower. So I'm going to drag this up to like half a second. And now when I click on it, it goes a little slower. So you got a lot of cool options in here you can do for the slides. So you can check it out. They also got like a flip one, but I think I like the cube. That looks pretty cool. Now with the cube, you can see there's a little shadow in there that's a little cut off on the bottom. So you can actually just add some padding below. So we just change this to like 30 pixel padding. Now I can see the full shadow right here on the bottom for the cube effect, which is pretty cool. So I'm happy with that one. That looks really cool. And so let's go back into this site. And so, we can start building these other things. This little grid right here is just like the one we did, right? Instead of image on the top, it's image on the left. Let's do this one. This blue one looks pretty cool. So I'm just gonna snag that blue color, and we're gonna come into the designer, and let's go ahead and add a new section. And so on the section, now we have 2 ways you can set colors in here. I can do the background color of the whole section, or I can do the background color of the, the inner section, this little box. And so I'm going to do the background of just this inner box. And I didn't get the right color for my clipboard, so let me change that. All right, perfect. So we got that, and we have the border radius thing on here too. So we can just come in and give that a border radius. And just like almost everything else, I always use a grid. So grid for everything. You got 2x1 grid. And so now I can put in a heading, and we'll put in a, let's do a button. We got a button. So perfect. I want to go ahead and change this. I think the text is a little too big, so we'll make it like a H2. Click to get started. And then we'll change this button to red. That's perfect. Sign up now. And Danny's saying he lost us, so hope you can still hear us, Danny. Hope you can still hear us. And I never really liked blue and red together. It's actually very, I don't know, it's like hard on the eyes or something. So let's actually just change the button to white and make the text black. I think that'll look cooler. That looks good. And so I'm going to change the flex box so this stuff is middle aligned. Same thing with this one. I'm just going to change it so it's middle aligned. And then we can go ahead and make this grid taller. Right? And so we got this sort of effect going on. Now I can left align it or center align it. I think center probably looks better. But that's looking pretty cool. Might put in some smaller text down below. Also make that white. That's looking good. And if I added other text, I think I would do left align. So that is looking good. Let's see. Cool. Well, let's also put in some more padding. I'm going to make that 30 on the padding, and let's actually make that, probably make that bigger with the more padding so it looks a little bit more even. Cool. So that's looking good. So my site is really starting to look good. And I see a bunch of questions in there, so we're definitely gonna be diving into the questions. Let me just get this page going. So we got our, slide, the cube slide, which is cool. We got our top section, and we got a feature section, and we got a little call to action at the bottom. The only other things I would really add would be like the nav bar at the top and maybe a footer on the website. And so we can go ahead and just put in a nav bar like this. Now this one is like sticky, or does kind of follow you as you're moving around. So we can do something like that too. And so in order to do that, I think I would actually want to use a box instead of a section. And so the reason we're going to use a box instead of a section is I can just float this box over the section. And it's the same way I did it for the image over here. Remember, I put this image on top of the other one. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to come in here and we're going to say display, was it relative, flex, one of these things. Oh, I don't think I set a background color. That's why it looks weird. Let me set a background color of this to something obnoxious just so we see what's happening. All right, so now when I go in and I change these settings, you can kind of see that, okay, absolute now is there. That's not what I want. I want fixed, right? And so I see this fixed box, but I see that like my image is going over it, the text is going over it. So I want to go ahead and make that not happen. And so the way we want to do that is just increase the Z index to something higher. So now we have this floating box, and I made the color super obnoxious so we can see it, but let's just go ahead and make that white so it's not obnoxious. Perfect. Now we got this floating over, and let's go ahead and put in my nav bar. On the nav bar, I got a spot for a logo. Let's just find a logo in here really quick and see what pops up. PayPal logo, perfect. Not affiliated with PayPal in any way. Just FYI. All right, so then let's add in some padding in here. Let's also do like a 30 pixels, or maybe I just want padding on the left and right. So we'll do 30 over here and 30 on the right. And so I'm starting to get exactly what I wanted. And let's see, also, there's a tiniest gap above the box. I don't know if you can see it through the video. Super tiny gap up there. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and make the margin a little bit negative. So it's like at the very top, you can't see anything behind it, which is awesome. But now we got our box, and you still see this image is going over it. That's because the Z index of that image is higher than the box. So I can actually make the Z index even bigger. I put in 1,000. Let's put in more. All right, there we go. Now image is not going over it. And I got this header that's following me as I go. So that's looking really cool. Really, really cool. And some other things I like to do in here personally is I love hover effects on buttons. And so you can come in and click on your button and go ahead, and you got these tabs on the left. So you got the normal states of the button. You got the hover states of the button. You got the active state or the clicked state. So I'm just going to click on hover, and let's change the hover color to a different shade of red. So you can see now when I hover over it, it turns a little bit different shade of red. So that looks cool. Let me get some more of my cold brew from Starbucks. Highly recommend, by the way. I think I got the pistachio cream from Starbucks. Good stuff. So I like that. I might even want to add in a little shadow on hover. And so I like putting in a shadow. We can do like I don't know, we'll do like a bluish kind of shadow, light blue. And let's see, that one's a little too harsh, so we can fan it out a little bit more and blur it. And I might even make it more transparent so it's less obvious. There you go, something like that would look good. Now it's just a very subtle, super subtle shadow. So that looks good. So we're starting to build this page. We got our top nav bar. I'm just going to save this. And one of the things I always like to do is to preview it on the different sizes so we can make sure everything looks good. That is looking good so far. The text is definitely too big on the mobile size. I would actually even decrease it on the tablet mode. Let's just do that now. Since I have the tablet mode selected, any changes that I'm making apply to the tablet mode and anything smaller. So if I make this like a 36 size font, right? That means if it's updated here, it's also updated on the phone version. So that's looking good. Let's just check out everything else. Same thing, this heading is way too big. So I'm gonna go back to tablet mode. Let's go ahead and make this also 36. Let's make this also 36 and left align. Okay, we'll do 36. See if this one's left align too. Perfect. And we'll make this one also 36. Let's see. So I'll make that one 32. And there we go. I'll make this 36. Just come in, play with the fonts, get it to look good on all the different devices. And so now we can go and switch to the mobile mode, and we see that everything's resizing pretty well, except this swiper slider doesn't look good right now on the mobile mode. Let's go back into tablet. There's a few ways we can update that. So let's go into the padding or a gap. So we got gap between. We can mess with this change right here. That would be one thing we can do. Now this is wrapping on the tablet mode, so just be aware of that. And let's see what other things we can do on here. I can click on this and go into the padding in here as well. And we can actually remove this. So we'll do like 0 padding and 0 padding. That could work well. Yeah, I think that works well. I might even get rid of the gap in here too. So that would be another thing we can change. So when the grid is selected, I can go ahead and change, I guess, the padding in here. Or let's see, which one is it? So we got the grid and, or is it the padding? Let me check. So going through the settings, trying to figure out where's the space coming from. Sometimes that happens. So we got that, and we got grid. Let's see. Sometimes that happens where you're like, where is the space coming from? Is it a padding issue? Is it a column gap? You know, what is really causing it? So there's no grid gap there. We're in the column. Let's go to the other column, see if there's anything in there. There's not. So we can go ahead and just, you know, make this a tiny bit negative margin right there. So you can even overlap it if you wanted. Actually, it looks like a cool effect now because the corner is going into the image. I kind of like that. Let's see. What else do we want to do? Is there anything else that jumps out at you guys we should update on the responsiveness? Feel like it's looking pretty good. So we got that. We still got the tabs in here. And I can go through and update the gap on the other tabs or leave it. Actually kind of looks, I think it kind of looks pretty cool like that. It's like rounded on one side. So yeah, either way, it's up to you, your personal preference. But that's it for this site. I can go ahead and save it. And you can always click on the preview page to see how it looks and, you know, make sure everything works before you publish it. I really love that cube effect. I think that's so cool. But there you go. I would add a hover effect on the button too and the footer, but everything's looking great. Let's dive into the questions on here. We got someone asking about custom icons. How can you do custom icons? Let's show you how to do that. So there's a few ways you can customize the icon. If you're trying to customize it on a button, just select the button and you got button settings right here. Click on icon and you can select your own icon here. So for this one, right, if you want to do like, I don't know, this little thing right here, you can do that. So you got a different icon. So you can customize it there. I'm just going to put the arrow on here instead, this little arrow. That looks good. And let's change the text to sign up now. Perfect. And then the other way to change icons is to drag an icon to your page. And so on here, if you click on the icon, same thing. You got a little icon menu. Click on that, click remove, set a new one, and you're good to go. You can just resize it. So that's how you set the icons. Let's go into some of the other questions. I'm going to scroll back up a little bit higher. So we got Lyle asking, do you have to save the page as we go, or does it auto-save? So we do have a button up here for auto-save. And some people love it, some people hate it, right? Because some people are like, if they mess up, they want to be able to just refresh the page and go back to when they last saved. So it is disabled by default. You can click to turn it on. I personally prefer it not on because if I mess up, I can just refresh and go back to where I was for my last save. But I think just save the page as you're happy with it as you go. Just click Save Draft. And you always have an undo button too. So if you guys make a change you're not happy with, you can just click undo a bunch of times and go back to when you were happy. So good question. We got someone asking about how do you make the nav bar sticky or static. So we just went over that one. So we created this one right here that does that exact same thing. A great question. We got Marianne asking about the blogging capabilities. So we do have blogging capabilities that we're working on, but we decided to move that into the CMS system. So CMS stands for Content Management System, and blogging is really just content that should be in a CMS. And you know, blogs are a CMS, really. So we decided to push that into the CMS instead of releasing a different module or section or app in FlowTrack. Because the last thing we want to do is just have 50,000 modules in FlowTrack. You got this for blogging and this for CMS and this for that. So it's just going to give you a lot more flexibility. So one of the types of things you can create in the CMS is a blog post. But if you wanted to create something in the CMS like an inventory of cars or a directory of employees or branches, right? If you're a mortgage loan company, you can do that too. So it's really about creating any sort of content you want in your content management system. And that's what the team's working on now. So good question. We got someone asking about A/B split testing capabilities. So we do have a few options for A/B split testing. You do have a step in the automation flow builder called random route step. You can use that if you want to redirect users to different pages. But when it comes to split testing like a landing page, that's not something that we have in FlowTrack yet, but that's something that's going to be, you're going to be able to do with our tracking release. And our tracking release, you can set weights and split test your different offers or landing pages, which is going to be really cool. So the way it'll work is, let's say you're doing an ad on Facebook. Instead of putting the link directly to your landing page in Facebook, you're going to put a link from the tracking system. And then from there, it's going to redirect them to the correct spot, which is going to be cool. And I see someone post an article, how to design the fixed nav bar. So thank you for that. Let's see. We got someone asking about the calendar 2.0, they don't see the email templates. Yeah, so the team was rolling out the email templates, and they got a snag. They need to update on that to roll them out for the branding. So they actually held off on releasing the email templates right now. That's something they should get resolved by Monday morning. So just check your accounts Monday morning so you can see the email templates for the calendar. And we want to make sure, especially with all the white label and black label users, all the branding on there is perfect. And so that's why no one sees them in their account yet. So just be aware, if you're going to go edit the calendar emails, you won't see them on the edit page yet, but stay tuned for that. A great question. I got someone asking about what are the upcoming updates for the web builder. So upcoming updates for the web builder, let's go ahead and take a look. So we got a lot of enhancements on here, and let's see what we're doing. So the next one that's coming up, and it should be any day now, and it might even be here yet. I don't know. Let's see. It could be. So we have triggers coming up on the pop-up. So if I come in and I add a pop-up and say, let's create a new pop-up, give it a name. Right now I got a new pop-up. And let's see, I would see this in the pop-up manager. Yeah, it's not there yet. So there's going to be a button, this little lightning bolt that's coming. That's going to be your pop-up triggers. So we got exit intent triggers, and we got scroll depth triggers on there as well. So that's going to be coming. So stay tuned for that. And then we got, let's see, we got some updates to the slider. We got a bunch of stuff in the queue, YouTube playlist. I'm not reading all the things that are in here. We don't announce everything we do before we do it, but we got some cool stuff coming in the website builder. But really the big focus of the team and the website builder in the last month is just trying to get it to be as seamless as possible in here editing sites. And I hope you guys seeing me in here build this today, realize, how big of an improvement that is. Used to be honestly a mission to create a page like this, and now we're able to do it pretty darn quick and easy. That's our goal, is just to keep making it as easy as possible and to keep everything styled by default. So a lot of the little details you had to set, like the style of the buttons and the different font sizes and stuff, and everything's just kind of styled by default, which is awesome. And so the team's still working on getting that to be as perfect as possible before we start releasing a lot of the bigger features in the designer. But stay tuned on, for sure, I'm going to tell you now, the pop-ups, scroll depth, and exit intent, and video backgrounds. Those are going to be coming up pretty darn soon. So stay tuned for that. Let's see. We got some other person asking about, Lisa is saying, when you change one of the size views, it only changes the actual size. So the way it works, so CSS stands for cascading style sheets, and that just means your changes cascade down, or they can cascade up too, but in our system, the changes cascade down to smaller devices. So if I make a change on laptop mode, right, it affects all modes smaller. And so we can just do a quick example of that, right? So if I change the color of the text to something obnoxious, right? I change this on laptop mode. I go into tablet, it's still that obnoxious color. But if I go up to desktop, you can see it's still black, right? So that's how the changes work. So if you want something to apply only on a specific size, just keep in mind that's going to apply to that size and everything's smaller. That's super helpful when you're changing things to make things responsive on your website. Maybe the text is too big on tablet mode, right? You need to shrink it. You don't want to have to go into every screen size and edit that. So you just do it on one and it cascades down to the others. So great question. So we got someone asking, how can you use custom fonts? So right now we only have the fonts that are in here in the drop down list. So there's actually two ways you can pick fonts. We have about 1,000 fonts using Google Fonts library. So if you come in here, you see there's a, like the most common ones in this list. But if you just start typing the name of the font that you want, you're going to see that there's actually like a lot. Like these are the A's right here. If you can see as I'm scrolling, there's a lot of fonts. And then you got, yeah, either you got, it might be over 1,000, but something around 1,000 fonts in here. So if you have your font that's one of the Google ones, you're in luck. If not, we don't have the, we don't have the upload font button yet, but we will be adding that. That is in the queue. And so that's if you want to set your fonts individually, right? So you can set your fonts for the paragraph text, the heading, all that individually, or you can use the font pairings. So we got popular font pairings in here that you can pick. And the reason why you have font pairings is sometimes your header text or your heading text will be a different font than your paragraph text, right? And so that's what the pairings are. It's a different font for your headings versus your paragraph that already look good. And so you got those two options in there right now. Someone's asking about custom icons. I think that's a great idea. So I'm going to screenshot that and get that added to the queue. I don't think we have that in there on the roadmap, but I'm not sure. But either way, I'm going to get that added to the queue. I think that's a great idea. So keep the ideas flowing. Gonna make as many flow puns as I can. Well, let's see, get some more coffee. Perfect. We got Marianne saying, I wish I caught this from the beginning. Well, don't worry. These are live streamed, and within a couple minutes after the stream stops, you can go back in and start this from the beginning. And if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys smash that like button or follow us on social media. You got YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, and follow us on there. And then you can also smash that like button and subscribe to this video. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit the notification bell after you subscribe so you get alerts when we go live. Awesome. And so let's go ahead and go back into more of the questions. And so we're definitely going to do more demos like this. I think anytime we're creating anything in FlowTrack, we should just live stream it so you can see what we're doing as we do it. That's really the best way to learn. I'm a visual learner myself, so I love stuff like this, just seeing it in action. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are like that as well. We got someone asking about new icons. So we did have someone request another icon library in there the other day. I think they were talking about maybe it was Material UI icons. We could add that. Right now we got Font Awesome icons. I think it's Font Awesome 4 or 5 or one of those. But if you have any specific icon libraries you want to see, just let us know or add it to the roadmap, roadmap.flowtrack.co, and you can check that out. And so we got another person asking about, will the cube effect show on the phone version? It absolutely does. So you can swipe or push the arrow on the cube. It is the swiper slider, so you can swipe. And that's actually the same thing that we use on our website. So if you go to the FlowTrack, there's so many things you can do with the slider, right? And so let me go to the FlowTrack homepage. And if you go to pricing, right, this is the swiper slider, right? We made it into a pricing block. You can make it into a feature block. You can make it into, the main, like, carousel type of thing on the top of your page. So there's lots of cool stuff you can do in there. And in fact, let's go over some of the other things on here. So you got auto swipe settings. So you can say this will auto play, right? And so you can add a delay on this. So that's cool. You have a 3-second delay per swipe. You can say stop on the last or not stop. That might be a little bit too fast. I might change that to like, I don't know, we could do a 10-second delay, something like that. So you got lots of options on there. You can even change how the pagination appears. You got the bullets at the bottom versus a progress bar versus fractions like 1 of 3, slide 1 of 3, or none. You can just hide that completely. I like the bullets, but it's up to you guys what you want to do for that. But great questions. Someone asking, can you use your own icons from images? Absolutely. So just like this icon was the image, you can just upload the image. All you got to do is drag the image, click and drag your file here in the asset manager, and then click on it, and you can upload any icons you want. Absolutely. We got EAC saying that you can't log into FlowTrack and really needs help. So let's go ahead and get you help right now. So can you make sure you send us either a chat message, because I don't know what your account username is, but if you can send us a chat message or email support@flowtrack.co, we can get you helped out right now. We do have support 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So we can get you going and get you helped out. Just you can go to the homepage of our website. If you're locked out for some reason, go to the homepage of our website. You got the blue chat bubble up here. You can click on that and get some help. And if you need anything else, just feel free to message me too, and we'll get you helped out. So let's go back to the comments, and I got too many windows open. So yeah, let me know if you don't get in EAC, so we can get you helped out right away. Logging in the CMS, how interesting, never thought of it that way. Perfect. Yeah, I mean, we think hard before we add something, because we don't want to have, like I said, 50,000 sections of the site. So that's something we got to think about carefully on what we add and how we add it. Let's see. Someone's saying, I think we can take some inspiration from the Squarespace builder. So I haven't seen the Squarespace builder, so I'm not sure how that works. Yeah, I'm not really sure how that works. So tell me what you like about them or any other builders, and we'll keep looking at how we can improve the FlowTrack builder. So definitely have to check that one out. Let's see. I got Lisa saying, I love that you're building the system right. It takes longer, but in the end, a much better product. So thank you for that. Team's definitely going through and working hard to try to build it the right way. It's actually easy to build things fast, but you always got to rebuild them later, right? And it's a lot more work to do it 2 times or 3 times. And so, yeah, we try to take our time and do things the right way and plan for as many use cases as possible. And I hope you guys see that with the calendar, all the different flexibility in there for different types of businesses. People excited about the tracking system. Awesome. We got a lot of comments in here, so I'm going to keep going. Let's see. It would be interesting if we could change the color of the text and the form so they can fit perfectly with the style of the pages. So we did add, I'm pretty sure they added that. We can go ahead and test it. So let's just put a form somewhere down here. So I'm going to put in a form. Let's go ahead and just put in like, order form, free trial. Let's see. Well, I don't want to put it in that box, so let me just put in a new section. Okay, I'm gonna put it over here. So we got order form, free trial. Cool. So this one right here doesn't actually have the fields on it. This was just the one-click thing, but we did add options in here for the form color. And you got this drop down, and I hope you guys can see that on the, yeah, you can, cool. So we got this drop down, and so they added, every color in here pretty much. So you can change the text, the label, the input field, background, the button, all sorts of stuff in here. So you can really customize it to look exactly how you want. So you got primary color button background, And I don't know if that's the primary color or secondary color. And it looks like that one's not even working for me. So let's see. We got those would be the only two ones I would think it is. So I'm going to talk with the team about that and see why that one's not changing. It's not obviously not updating when I change it on here. But this is where the color options will be on the form, but it looks like they still got some fixes on there to update. So I'm going to talk with them about that and take a screenshot of that. But go in and play around with the other options in there. And, you know, that's where we're going to be putting them. So good question. Let's see. Can a Delilah's asking, can a nonprofit track donors in FlowTrack? So I think absolutely, right? So donors would really just be your contacts or, you know, customers inside your system. And so you can, you know, tag them and, you know, do conditions and say, you know, tag the high donors as, you know, whales or VIPs, and, you know, segment your customers or donors that way. We do have a donation payment option in the form builder. So when you're designing your payment form, you can actually pick the donation payment option. And the donation payment option is really just let the person key in their own value, right? So instead of putting a form that has like 2 or 3 products as an option, you know, you don't know what the person necessarily wants to donate. So you can just say, key in the amount you want to donate and default it to a certain value. So that's what you can do on there for donors. Let's see. Got EAC saying, don't wait to get FlowTrack. So thank you. Thank you. Definitely. Team's been crushing it. I've got someone saying, where do we report bugs these days? So anytime you guys have any issues or need support, always just go ahead and click on the chat icon inside the app. You're going to see on the left side of your screen. That's the quickest way to get support. You know, like I said, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., 7 days a week. You know, even if they're not there, you can always send a message, and as soon as they get back, you know, they're going to see it. So we know who you are if you send us a message because you're logged in. So yeah, please report any bug or, you know, feature request, enhancement, anything you want to see changed, and we'll get that added to the list. So appreciate that. Let's see. We got Marianne talking about the lifetime deal. Yep. So definitely grab that for the white label when you can. We're, you know, definitely going to be, we keep increasing the pricing of that as we go, and we're eventually going to get rid of it. So just be prepared for that. As soon as we get rid of it, everyone's going to complain we don't have it anymore. So get it while you can. But we'll have to phase that out 100%. And that's only going to be for new customers, right? So if you already have it, you don't have to worry. It's not going anywhere for you if you already bought it. So don't worry about that. All right. We got Scott saying it's an avalanche of awesome. Thank you. Great stuff. Page looks great. Awesome. Glad you guys like it. So someone's asking about how to create borders over a rounded video. So that's the same thing, except when I did it, I just went in here on the right and I go under decorations. We don't have the border radius on the little black menu on video, but you can just click on this border radius here to set the border. That's actually what I did on our video up here. On the top, we have, I don't know if you guys can see it, might be kind of small, but we have slightly rounded borders on the video, and I actually put a background shadow. So one of these has like a purplish shadow, the other has a bluish green shadow, which I think makes the videos look a lot better. So that's how you do it. Just look for border radius. You say we got some people saying the cube slider is sharp. All right, I need more coffee. Hold on a second. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Go back into the website builder. We got someone saying, if you have a black label and let's say a white label account under you has any number of active accounts that are set up on autopay, what would happen to the active accounts under white label if they went out of business for whatever reason? So great question. And so you have a few different controls in place on what you can do. And it really depends on what type of customers that you're working with. A lot of times people are using the white label because they own multiple businesses and they want, to have, each of their businesses as their own sub account. So they're really just managing themselves, right? Their sub accounts are themselves. And so sometimes they just set up the account, so everything's free, right? Because their master account is paying for it. They don't need to worry about billing clients. But in that case, you might disable some of the things in there. Like, let me see if I can show you. Open up a new window. And let me just go ahead and save my page. I think I already saved it. So I'm going to open up a new window and show you some of the settings you have in here in the package builder. So give me a second. Okay, pulling up the white label package builder. All right. So in here in the package builder, you have something that you can control under advanced settings. And so I can pull up, let's say, Mike's package. Under advanced settings, here's where you can allow the user to go into a negative balance or not. So if you're dealing only with known trusted people, or it's your own businesses, right? You're creating sub accounts for yourself only. You may want to just put in a larger number here because you're managing the accounts or you're covering it, and there is no cost. So that going up to a negative balance doesn't really do anything. But if you're dealing with, you're posting Facebook ads and you're signing up, your agency clients just randomly off the street, so to speak, you may want to put this at 0, right? You don't want your customers to go to negative balance at all. And so this also applies if you're black label, right? If you're black label and you create a white labeled sub account under your white label, you may not want that person to go negative because that affects everything from like the email sending, SMS sending, whatever pricing that you have in here in this table. And so by doing that, you're really preventing a scenario where you're, on the hook for a giant bill because you actually control if they can or cannot go negative, and if so, by how much. So, like I said, if it's a known customer, you might want to give them some grace period because remember, it does stop emails and SMS, and it will be retrying that for a period of time. Checking to see if they have balance at a later time. But, sometimes you may say, well, hey, you can go up to $50 in the red. After that, it shuts you off, but it just depends on your risk appetite and what type of customers you're working with. But I would always say keep it at 0 if it's just, unknown people you're signing up from running ads. Let's see. And so this affects if you have a white label customer and they have, 10 users on there or 100 users, 1,000, whatever it is, it does affect the whole account, right? So this is the setting for the whole account. It's at the package level. So if the account goes negative up to the max, right, those usage-based services just stop working for everyone until they go in and update their billing information. So good question. We got someone asking about one of the new features. So one of the new features was to be able to go in and change the extension of the page. So let me pull that up really quick. I'm going to switch back over here. So yes, when you come in and you design a new page, since this is a new page, this option is on by default. It says no extension. It used to be .html, right? And now the default is no extension. So you know, if you're editing an existing page, you can go in and change it. Creating a new page, it's going to just automatically default that to you. So a lot of people are asking that, so we got that done. But great question. Let's see. Is there a way to only apply changes to tablet mode? So the way the styles work is they do cascade down. So that's I think the easiest way to do it. You know, if you want something only on tablet, you would just go into tablet mode, change that. And then if you want to go back to phone, you could change it to something else. And that's the way you can really do only tablet mode. Yeah, most changes people make on the website builder, they want it to display on everything smaller, right? You don't want to have to go update your text on every different mode and stuff like that. All right, someone's asking, how can you add custom CSS? So you got a few options in here to add custom CSS. I mean, you could use the custom code block and just put it in anywhere. I don't even know why I mentioned that one, because I don't even think that's the best way to do it. But you can go in and first decide, do you want this CSS to display on all pages or just this page? If you're going to say all pages, put it under site settings. If you want it only on this page, click on page settings. And in here, you have the ability to add custom CSS. So you can just come in here and start typing, you know, something like .Mike, and, you know, start saying font size, right, 12 px, right? So just come in and type in your CSS here, and you'll be good to go. If you ever needed to disable it, you got a little flag up here, so you can turn it on or off and choose whether to enable it, but still keep it here so you can see it later. So good question. Let's see. Is there an option to add geometric shapes? If you can give me an example of that. I can't see who wrote that question, but give me an example of what you're talking about for geometric shapes. Happy to take a look. If you can post a link, you know, so I can visualize what you're talking about. Let's see. Will there be an option to copy styles? So absolutely. That's actually one of the ones that's being worked on. We're adding a right-click context menu in here to the different elements, so you can copy the styles from one element to another. So I think that one's going to be really cool. Definitely beats having to clone everything to make it a little bit more efficient in here. We got someone talking about, does the cube or slider negatively impact loading time? So, you know, in general, I think we have probably the fastest page speeds of any builder I've ever seen so far. And in fact, I think you guys should go head to head and try to build the same page in FlowTrack and then build it in another system and just share the results that you get. But, you know, every thing you add, you know, obviously adds a little bit more to the size of the page, but it's like negligible. So it's not too big. I mean, you can build a page and still have like a 99 or 100 Google page speed. It just depends. The only time I've seen our builder, you know, be affected negatively by page speed is when we put things that aren't even our elements on there. Like if I put these videos on the page, right, it's like downloading like 26 megs of buffered data just on anticipation that you're going to play the video. So stuff like that will, you know, turn your page speed pretty red. There is a way to negate that that you can do. It does add a second click, but you do have the ability to do cover images on videos. So if you come in here and you drag in a video element, that's exactly why cover images are here. So if you set a cover photo, and normally you would make a cover photo that like has, I mean, we have the play button on there, but you know, you could have a cover image that has a play button in it too. But this way you have to actually click on the play button before it loads the video. That actually significantly improves your page speeds if you're using videos on your page, but just keep in mind it adds that extra click. So it's up to you. But I think we have, the fastest page speeds out there. So let us know what you think. So go ahead and test that out. We got Sting asking how to set alert bar. If you can clarify that for me, what you mean on that one, happy to answer it. Like a notification bar, I'm not really sure what you mean by alert bar, but happy to answer. Let's see, it would be great to organize our images by folders. Absolutely, I think that would be really good. We are adding folders in here to flows and products, and I'm trying to think what else, but I think there's one other page, but I think adding it in here would be good as well. And there's some other usability enhancements I want to make on this list. We can do that. I can't see the full name of the file name, which is kind of annoying to me, but the small little things in here I think would be good. Let's see. So how can you link the menu to any section of the page when someone clicks? So you can link anything to a section of the page just by grabbing the ID. And let me show you. So let's say we want this button, and it can be menu, it can be button, it can be anything with a link, right? We want the button to go here. Well, first I got to know where here is. So I'm going to click on this heading, and I'm going to come in here, and there's actually this little code right here, which is the ID of the section. And so I'm just going to copy this code, and now I'm going to go back up to my button, and I'm going to set the link to an anchor. And so when you do anchor, we actually pre-populate these different sections in here for you. So you can, just click one of these from the list, or you can do what I just did and copy the value, and I go to custom anchor and just make sure it's prefixed with the hashtag. And there you go. Now this button is hooked up to that. And so if I save this page, we can go ahead and preview what that looks like on when you click that. So go ahead over here and refresh. Now if I click this button, you can see it jumps to this section. That's how easy it is to link to other sections of your website. And you can, using that ID, you can link to anything, right? So whatever you guys want, you guys can get linked. And in case you guys didn't see, we did add more link options in here. So you can link to an SMS. This will pre-pop an SMS message on the user's phone, with the phone number they want to text and the message, which is pretty cool. And got a bunch of other options in here too for different links. Let's see. Keep going through the questions. Let's see. Yeah, Marianne saying, I like the clean simplicity of your backend dashboards. Well, thank you for that. Definitely let the team know. I appreciate the feedback and praise. So they've been doing a good job trying to make it as easy as possible, and the never-ending task. So never-ending task for sure. Let's see. We got Danny talking about it'd be nice to edit the form color the same way as the actual form. I agree, and I think we need more styling options in the form builder. I would love to see really the same UI in the web builder as the form builder. So that's something that we're definitely looking at. That's a great idea. Is there an interactive map feature in the pipes? So we got let me show you the map that we do have. So let's say I'm just gonna I don't know, I'm gonna move this image, or yeah, I'll just move this image or delete it. Let's just delete the image for now, whatever. So I'll put in a map, and let's see. And it is on our list to actually put the search bar in here, because sometimes I'm even like, where is the map element? I don't know, because we got so many in there. There it is. I got the map element. So you can come in here, change the location of the map. We can do like 90015 Los Angeles. We'll change the zoom in here, zoom more in. or zoom out. So you do have the map feature in here. And one of the things I like about the map is I actually like using the filters. So you can get it to match the color scheme of your site, right? So if I have like that red color going on, I can try to match that red, or I can go with the blue, whatever you want to do on there. So you got that in there. Same thing with the border radius. Let's see, that one actually doesn't work on the map. So I'm gonna make a note of that one too. Lots of little details in here. So I'm just taking a screenshot of that. We'll get that one looked at. But definitely check out the filters on the map. It's really cool to match the style of your site. So that's in there. Be nice to match. Let's see. Anything would be nice to be able to edit the colors from the actual form builder. Absolutely. I think I was just talking about that one. I think that's a great idea. Greg's asking if there's any more plans for more templates. Absolutely. In fact, the one we're doing now, we're going to have a template based around that. It's a great question. Let's see. How can I link that menu to any section on the page? When someone clicks pricing, for example, go straight to it or scroll. So we just went over that example. That's just linking something to right here. So you're going to link it to an anchor. You can link it to a custom anchor, or you can just pick the section from the drop down right here. So either way, that'll work. Thank you for the feedback, Kyle. That's awesome. Let's see. Karen, if you want to send me the link to your page, happy to take a look at it for you. So you can get that updated. Make sure if you're changing your extension, you just publish it so you can see the changes live. Let's see. Can you fix the following? We cannot call any FlowTrack APIs to a site due to cross-origin resource sharing policy. Let's see. So I don't know who wrote that comment. Technical question. Shoot me a message of your example site so we can take a look. You're trying to connect to that API. We can help you out with that if you can, or email me, mike@flowtrack.co. We can take a look and get your integration working on there with the custom API. Sometimes Facebook doesn't show me who the users are commenting. It just says Facebook user. So don't know who's always talking. We got Lisa saying with features, yep, you have to balance speed with conversions. Absolutely. So, things like videos on your page could help conversions a lot. And even if that slows down your website speed a little bit, that can be worth it, right? It's not 100% page speed that gives you higher conversions, but page speed is definitely a big factor when it comes to conversions. It's a big factor when it comes to SEO. So you want to make sure you got your best foot forward on there. Some things like videos are worth it. So definitely a good point. Can you share images in the asset manager with other sites you are making? So absolutely. So we have this concept in here of site assets or system assets. So system assets are going to be other images you've used on other design projects inside your system, whereas site assets are just the images you're using in this current project. So you want to reuse something that you've already used on another site, just click on system assets and you'll see all your images across all sites right there. And of course, you can use the search box to find stuff easily. We got Don saying he still hasn't received the email yet. So the people, if you don't get the email to the agency blueprint, you got to make sure you're using the same email address that you signed up with on your active account. If it doesn't match, it's not going to send the email. And we don't tell you whether it matched or not. So we just say, if it did match, look for your email. But if you have any issue, Don, go ahead and message the chat support and we can get it loaded into your account so you get the agency blueprint. A good question. Let's see. I got someone saying, I can tell you and Charles have a no quit mindset. Awesome. Appreciate that. Definitely. Charles is amazing. Definitely has a no quit mindset, just like all of us. So good Great guy. Definitely great guy. Let's see. We got a bunch more questions. Okay, so Robin's asking about the course policy. And then we got one of the biggest wishes to be able to choose my template. Choose the templates that consumers can see in the website builder. So that's something that we're looking at right now on how to do that. We got some big changes coming with the blueprints. And that's one of the things we're looking at, and how that affects the templates in the website builder. So those things are pretty related. So we'll have some decisions on which way we're going to go on that pretty soon. So stay tuned for that. That's a big priority for us, actually, the templates. So we're going to have a lot of changes on there. Got Karen asking about the pop-ups. So we have pop-ups today in the website builder. And then we got exit intent pop-ups coming, like sometime this week, something around there. So anytime you want to do a pop-up right now, just click on something, click on pop-up, add new pop-up, and there you go. You got a pop-up. Now, remember I set that z-index of that image to float over the other one? Well, I actually set it so high it's floating over my pop-up. So I might want to go in and just set the z-index of my pop-up be even bigger. All right, so there we go. I don't think that's big enough. Maybe I'll change the z-index of the image to be less. So we got, there we go. Okay, perfect. So this is the pop-up builder. And so you guys can mess with this. You got a lot of different settings on here. Change the pop-up position, left, right, center, etc. Resize it. You can even do what we did on the FlowTrack site. So a lot of people loved this. So this was a pop-up with an image as a background, right? So we didn't have a solid color. We just had a transparent image. And so you can do the same thing. We can go ahead and just pick some image, and I'll just search for, transparent background. Right. And I don't know, I'm just going to pick a random one. It's probably not going to be a good looking one, but we'll see. And so now I got a transparent image, and I'm going to change the background to be transparent. So we'll do that. Okay. And then on my image, let's just make it contain, right? And so now I got a pop-up with my moon, right? So we got a moon pop-up. Didn't think we'd fit a moon pop-up into this video, but we managed to make it happen. So we can go ahead and, center align that. I could put my form on top of here. I could put some text on top of here, but it's a cool little effect you can do for your pop-ups. And I may even want to go in and change the overlay color. Overlay color, changes how dark your background is going to be. So if you want your pop-up to pop more, change the overlay color. And now we can put in some text in here. Out of this world. And let's go ahead and change the Flexbox settings to be center. And we'll make the text color white. There we go. So you can get pretty creative in there with the transparent images and your pop-ups and get that cool effect where you can still see the background. It doesn't look like your traditional pop-up. And yeah, maybe you're throwing a button in there. I'll make this button red like the others. And same trick I did before, putting the spacer in here you could do. You can put a spacer down below and a spacer up above. Just kind of push those things together. That's one thing you could do. So maybe even put another one. There you go. I have fun with the pop-ups. Definitely a lot you can do in there, and just wait for the exit intents and the scroll depth trigger. I think that's going to be really cool. Let's see. Someone was asking, what is that you were showing on the screen about the agency blueprint? So great question. So this is the agency blueprint that we created, and this was created using the blueprints inside FlowTrack. So one of the features inside FlowTrack for white label and black label customers is the ability to package up items in your system and to really make reusable blueprints for your customers and clients. So a lot of people service clients in the same industry, right? And you're working with the same type of client. They need the same missed call text back automation. They need the same email marketing flow and the same type of landing page template. Or birthday reminders. And so people are creating these blueprints to really save themselves a lot of time and energy. So every time they onboard a client, they automatically get these things created in their account. And so what we did is we made a blueprint for agencies, and we battle tested our website. We battle tested the sign up forms and optimized everything. And we created all these things and made a reusable blueprint. So now if you want to get your agency online, you can get what FlowTrack has. It's everything your agency needs to get customers today. So it took us a long time to, battle test and, get the website converting well and all that good stuff. So you get to save all that work. You get 16 included assets in here, everything from your landing page and sign up pages and one-time offers and upsells and thank you page and the forms, the automations, all that good stuff is all included in this template. And so if you signed up for FlowTrack, I would say in the last week, it would have been something that should automatically pop up in your account. You're going to get a pop-up when you log in. If you don't have it for some reason, you can go to this link. I'm going to drop it in the chat. You need to have an active FlowTrack account, and you need to fill out this form then. This form, you need to have your email address match the email address on your FlowTrack account. If it does match, you're going to get an email. So look out for the email. You're going to get this attachment, and you're going to be able to see everything that's included. You got a help video, all that good stuff, and you'll be able to start using your blueprint right away. The biggest thing we want to do is help you guys get online fast and easy and make it convenient to just get everything online. And there's no better way to do that than for us to give you what we use so you can hit the ground running and already have something that works. And so we want to do a lot more of these blueprints. So stay tuned on that. So that's a great way to end the call. So I appreciate you guys joining me today, and make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe to this video. Make sure you subscribe on Facebook and ring the bell to get notifications. And thank you so much for joining me today. Hope you have a good rest of your weekend, and stay tuned for many great videos and features to come. Bye.